Hey, it is Professor Sheehan, and I am just starting to mix Mr. Tornado's Fine Song by Your Side. I just made this AUX input, which I'm going to drag over to the right. Of course, I'm going to put a reverb on this AUX. Sometimes I like to just use one reverb for the whole mix. I'll go by the old standby, the good old deverb here. Let's try out one of the plates. Turn up this input. I don't really know why they have it down 4 dB like that. I'll label it verb, and we'll tell it to come in from a pair of buses. But why not bus 1 and 2? Okay. Let's assign bus 1 and 2 to the sends on everything else. So I'm going to hold down Option as I do this. That's going to put them across the boards. First thing I always do then is I remove it from the auxiliary that the reverb is on, because I don't want to send signal into it. I want it to pull signal from these various other tracks. So the other thing I'll do at this point is I will go to my view menu and show send A as an expanded send. So I get all the sends right there. And I did a bit of panning, and mostly what I did was the way Dan recorded was he kind of has everything balanced. If there's something left, everything's kind of stereo mic'd. So in most cases, I've just got things going either hard left and right or different degrees left and right. I might decide to change that, whereas there's a couple of rhythm guitars here, and I might balance it that one's more left, one's more right. Kind of have it like that way with the keyboards. We have a low part and a high part here, and I'm balancing the low part left and the high part right, which is kind of like if you were miking a piano, it would tend to turn out that way. Okay, so the other thing I want to deal with is reverb. So earlier you saw I made a reverb AUX. Let's get the mix window showing everything here. So here it is over here. You could do like different reverb for drums, different one for vocals, blah blah blah, but I'm just going to keep it simple and go with one reverb. You notice my reverb AUX has the solo button is grayed out, and that's by hitting Command, and that will put it in solo safe mode so that when you solo other tracks you're not accidentally muting the reverb. So check out my sends here. I've got the lead vocal has a healthy amount of reverb on it, and then I'm putting more reverb on the ahs because that's going to push them farther back. Putting more reverb will make them sound a little farther away with the main vocal a bit closer. So let's give that a listen.
When you feel like giving up, just know you're not done. When you feel the pain inside, just know I'm by your side. Whoa. Just know I'm by your side. Whoa. Just know I'm by your side.
Okay, now let's listen to that without any reverb. We'll just mute the reverb AUX and we'll play it again.
When you feel like giving up, just know you're not done. When you feel the pain inside, just know I'm by your side. Whoa. Just know I'm by your side. Whoa. Just know I'm by your side.
So yeah, reverb is your friend. Now, we're doing it on vocals, but don't think of reverb as a vocal thing. Another thing I heard in a project or two was the vocals sounded like they were further away and the instruments close up because the instruments have very little reverb on them. No, I'm going to start moving the reverb sends on the instruments. Give me a minute to do that.
When you feel
I just messed around with the reverb real quickly. Let me explain my basic approach. I do not have any reverb on the bass guitar or the kick drum because reverb will wash out low instruments. If I do want a little, I can put a little bit, but I'm not going to go too crazy with it. I'm basically using this to put the guitars, the yellow tracks of the guitars, a little more into the background. You can even pan the reverb reflections. And when that big chorus comes in, I want those guitars a little more pushed back even, just to sound like big but dense, even if they're not quite up front. And the keyboards, I put a lot of reverb on them because they're more of an ambient thing anyway. So I don't want them really in the forefront, I want them more in the background. So the more you send to reverb, the more something's going to sound like it is pushed back, and the less reverb, the more up front it's going to sound. Okay, so those are just a few tips. This mix, I would work on it a lot more. I've just worked on it for a few minutes. Just put a few plugins in, a few EQs, a few compressors, and one reverb, and did some panning, some level balance. But my mix is off to a better start just using a few of these tricks. And I think that if some of you apply some of these concepts, your mixes can be that much better.